adults, and I've been showing you for 6 years, 7 years, why.
Hello, you have reached the National Helpline of the Autism Society of America. For assistance in English, please press 1. Thank you for phoning Autism Society of America. This is Lindsay. How may I help you?
My name is Sean. I'm very good at masking, so I'm overlooked. I'm also highly intelligent. I've been abused for most of my life, and I can't get help without someone who understands autism actually speaking up. I go to all the places and the services I'm told to go to, but nobody understands autism. Most of the autism places that I call that I'm supposed to go to for advocacy are only interested in curing us. The thing is that most of the traits that we show that are considered autistic traits, especially those of us with high functioning autism, we're treated as if we have low functioning autism. And I'm tired of getting victimized. I move a lot. People victimize me everywhere I go because I'm different and I don't have any friends or family members to help me. I am dependent, but instead of people understanding that and assisting me with getting what I need as a dependent person, I'm victimized repeatedly because like I said, I can't communicate well when I'm overwhelmed, and I've been overwhelmed for 6 years. I can't call 911 alone because I'll get blown off. I'm homeless and I'm a male, and people don't stop to take a look at what that really means. I'm in a place called Tillamook, and before I was here, I was in the Dalles, and before I was in the Dalles, I was in Hood River, and I've been told that I need to record everything for my safety, so I do. I got a lot of recordings of a lot of at-risk adults, not just myself, being abused out here, and all of the services that we're sent to help, and how they treat us when we go to them for help, and how they take advantage of our disabilities. If we say we're not able to do something, we're told that that's the only way that we can do it. I have to be afraid here because the cops won't do anything for the homeless. They just pretend we're all schizophrenic drug addicts. And the homeless won't do anything for me because I don't do drugs or alcohol, so I might as well be a cop. And I get treated this way everywhere I go. I've had a couple of people that were supposed to be autism advocates. One of them, she was trying to help some of my predators to gaslight me because it's easy to do that. Especially after my best friend got shot in the head and people tried blaming me for it. People had been abusing me for over a year before that, and instead of understanding that I'm an at-risk adult, they pretend that because I'm an adult, I can magically do all these things myself. Meanwhile, the abuse has never stopped, and I still have to hope that one of these druggies on the streets will actually care enough to help me to turn it in, because the cops certainly don't care. They keep lying to the homeless people out here. Everybody's solution is for me to move or to call someone else or to ask a million questions about who I've called already. I can't tell you all of the places that I've called, but I've called every service in Tillamook County repeatedly. I've been here for almost 8 months now. I've gone to all of the mandated reporters, and they're supposed to help turn it in immediately, but they don't. Instead, they try to deter me from turning it in by telling me horror stories, or telling me that it doesn't work, or telling me that they quit their last job at social working because nobody here was doing their jobs. So instead of the services that I'm sent to that are supposed to help me to turn it in right away, what they do instead is they set me up for a therapy appointment 30 days away. And that puts me at further risk because my predators still have access to me, or they try to send me to somewhere else while I have to start over. I can't take care of myself, and somebody needs to explain to them what that means instead of me being repeatedly victimized until I have a mental breakdown and then getting treated like I'm a violent monster because I have a mental breakdown over people threatening to kill me and actually harming me, actually assaulting me, actually threatening to kill my friends and family. Natalie Bollinger getting killed was all over the news, and they still make things about her today. And people still contact me to harass me to this day. I had everything in my life stolen from me because I'm an autistic adult who can't defend himself from people's assumptions. Not all people who are autistic are low functioning, and it's not okay to treat us all like we're retarded. And people think that just because they didn't use the word retarded that it makes it okay, but it doesn't. I'm at extremely high risk for more abuse here in Tillamook. I've got a lot of evidence of it. I've also got evidence that nobody here that I'm sent to help me to turn it in has lifted a finger to help me turn it in. They don't bother to look at any of the evidence, and they don't bother to try to understand that I have a communication disability because I have PTSD from abuse. People try to assign negative traits of autism that aren't negative autistic traits. They're traits commonly associated with low functioning autistic people. And it's not okay for people to pretend that I'm one of those. Fuck. My phone restarted. Why the fuck did my goddamn phone restart? Now I have to. It didn't even register that I called. See, it says dialed and it says yesterday, but. And then it goes to Wednesday, but it says public service. Hello?
Hello, I'm trying to reach Sean.
Yes, ma'am. Who is this?
Hi, my name is Lindsay, and we were just speaking. I work for the Autism Society of America.
Yes, ma'am. My
I'm
phone
so
restarted
sorry.
for some reason, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I felt terrible because I was listening to you, and then all of a sudden it just went totally blank. So I'm really glad that we were able to reconnect. It sounds like you've just really been through some really hard times, and I'm sorry to hear that. It sounds like you need some services. Are you still in the Tillamook area in Oregon?
Yes, ma'am. Please don't send me to any of the services in Tillamook. I've been to the mall and I've also recorded the mall committing felonies to protect their coworkers. It's a small town.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
Also, I'm next to a busy road with a lot of traffic going by. If I raise my voice, I'm not yelling at you. I can't hardly hear you because I'm stuck next to traffic and I'm having sensory overload. And that's obviously not a decision, but people treat me like it is.
I understand. I don't think you're yelling at me at all, and I'll try to speak up so you can hear me.
Thank you, ma'am.
What services do you think would be most helpful to you? What can I do for you today?
Well, ma'am, I had all of the services that I had, like my housing and everything like that. It was all taken away because I tried to do what you're supposed to do when you're an at-risk and disabled adult who's being abused. I tried to turn it in. But I've been through 6 years of people treating me like crap. I had a friend named Natalie Bollinger, and she claimed that she understood autism, but she was also a drug addict. And she got embarrassed, and she spread slander about me, and then that turned into, the game telephone. You say something to the person to the left, and then by the time it gets back around to you, it's something else entirely. Well, I had to deal
Oh,
with that. And I had to deal with a lot of people threatening to harass me, threatening to kill me and my friends and family, and assaulting me, calling me from restricted numbers over and over again, making fake accounts to harass me. And I was begging for help, and I was jumping through all the hoops. I was told that I had to go to therapists and mental health because I'm autistic. I'm also physically disabled. But all these places that I go to, instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters, which is why I'm sent to them, and doing it right away like they're supposed to, they set me up for therapy appointment after therapy appointment after therapy appointment. And I keep trying to tell them, hey, the cops sent me here because you're supposed to help. And then I get sent by them back to the cops. Oh no, well, that's the cops' job. And nobody ever looks at the evidence. Nobody tries to understand that my physical disabilities and the fact that I'm in a state of crisis shuts me down and I cannot function. Instead of assisting me, they take advantage of that and send me around in circles. I do get disability money because I'm autistic, but all of that money gets sent running around in circles to all of these services. I live in a car in a parking lot, and it's illegal for me to do so. I listen to people threatening to kill each other almost daily. I've got hundreds of recordings of people who want to just talk about killing and threaten to kill people, and it drives me completely bonkers. And I'm stuck in public. I can't go to the cops because they'll just treat me like I'm a junkie. I'm a homeless male, so I can't go to the Me Too movement because I'll get told that I need to just shut up because women have to deal with it more than men. I try going to different autism advocacy places, and all they do is try to send me to local services who tell me to go to other places. I don't have the money to keep on spending my money to run around to all the places I'm told to go to for them all to tell me that it's not their job. Meanwhile, I get victimized everywhere I go until I move to somewhere else. Being taken advantage of because people don't want to try to understand autism is not a choice. Neither is people choosing to victimize me. Children who are autistic are more likely to be victimized than other children by a lot. They're more likely to be bullied. It doesn't change when we become adults. Just that when we're adults and people abuse us until we have a mental breakdown, we're told that we're acting like children, when the reality is people bullying us for being different. That's the acting like children, and they never grow out of it. Because we're different, we must deserve it. And everyone talks over us and tells us how to think and how to feel, that it's not their job to speak up or do anything, and I have to go to someone else. Every service is a referral service, and most of the autism places that I've called, I've already been through all that crap. And they just want me to go through so they can do another expensive diagnosis and then try this treatment stuff. I'm not calling these places because I need treatment. I'm calling these places because I need someone who understands autism to speak up about the abuse and about the fact that I can't take care of myself. Just because I can speak English doesn't mean that people hear me. And people's assumptions of autism they use to hurt me and to harm me. I'm horrible with names and numbers. Those are the first things that I forget. So when I talk to a cop, they're more likely to grill me because I'm homeless. If I go to a hospital, they're more likely to treat me like I'm a junkie because I look homeless. I don't have the money for any nice things, and all of my money gets spent on my car because I need it to go to all the places that I'm told to go, but I don't have the money for all this gas. All of my money gets eaten up. This is supposed to be used to take care of myself. It's my disability money, but it's not being used to take care of myself because it's not enough, especially after the abuse that I've gone through and having all of my back pay from disability ripped off and stolen from me. And without a parent or a guardian or an advocate, people just keep on doing this to me. And when I try to turn it in, I'm told that I chose it. They won't do anything unless I have a friend or family member. And I don't have a friend or family member. I've been to all the emergency housing places here. I've filled out the housing paperwork repeatedly. That's all they'll do here. Have me fill out the housing paperwork and then commit, what do you call that? Medicare and Medicaid fraud against me by setting me up for therapy appointments over and over and over again instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters immediately. Ma'am, I can't keep going through this. I need someone who understands autism to help me. I need them to understand and explain to these people. I can't organize any of this. I can't do the things that they're able to do when I don't have the resources that they have. I can't do these things for myself without the resources to take care of myself. And I can't do that when all of my resources are spent to go into places like TFCC and TCCHC, who are supposed to help advocate. And all they're doing is eating up Medicare and Medicaid money by setting me up for therapy instead of advocacy. Even with the recommendations from other therapists for them to do the advocacy thing, they say that they were only supposed to do the therapy thing. There's a Dr. Danelle Boggs. She's one of the mandated reporters I went to here, and she keeps sending me to TFCC. I recorded the horrible things she had to say about them and why she left. It's laws are so horrible, it's that nobody's following them. My disabilities don't just disappear just because my predators want to pretend. They know exactly what they're doing when they overwhelm me and talk over me and send me in a circle to all these places that are supposed to help that don't. Then sometimes you get a good advocate if you're lucky, but sometimes you get a bad advocate. My advocate from the Nebraska Autism Society didn't advocate for me at all. Most of our conversations, all she did is talk about herself. Instead of making most of the phone calls with me, she wanted to make the most important ones by herself, and she refused to record everything. I'm just supposed to take her word for it on what they said. Meanwhile, she helped people who blackmailed me into ordering with my money, with my disability money, parts to make an illegal AR-15. And even though I let her know that, what she wanted to do instead of helping me to turn it in was to tell me that I needed to hide it. She wasn't going to help me to turn it in. And so that guy continued to blackmail me out of $4,000 worth of my disability money. Not to mention all of the money that I spent going to one court date to another because I didn't have anyone to help me turn in the crimes against me before Natalie was killed. And after she was killed, I was painted as a stalker for asking for help stopping the abuse. I have internet stalkers and stalkers in real life. And because Natalie Bollinger's death was all over the news, and it's a real popular thing with true crime, people harass me on the internet and in real life. And the internet is the only way for me to get a hold of most of my friends that I have in real life because I am socially isolated from them now. I'm enduring every type of abuse that there is and being treated like I chose it, like I wanted it. It was my decision because I'm autistic. I don't choose people's abuse or their assumptions. And me having to go to these places without somebody who understands the first thing about autism, or one of those autism moms who's more interested in curing her son or her daughter because they're low functioning and violent, or because they assume that they can use that when their high functioning kid doesn't do what they want right when they want it. Megan Missigatis is a mandated reporter, and she didn't do her job as a mandated reporter, or Nicole Peralta. Instead, they wanted to try to pressure me to do the things that my predators were doing. They were trying to scare me into moving, bully me into moving, assault me into moving, threaten my friends and family until I moved. And then the therapist that I went to, instead of them helping me with that, they kept on wanting to tell me that I needed to move. I didn't have the money to move because they weren't helping me with the paperwork. And I didn't have the ability to defend myself against those predators because they weren't helping me to turn them in. They just keep telling me to do things by myself that anybody who understands autism in a state of crisis would understand. I literally can't do these things for myself, no matter how much they want to argue or talk to me like I'm too retarded to understand. Meanwhile, I grew up in the system and I did work as a homeless liaison in Boulder, Colorado for 7 years. So I'm familiar with all of this stuff. I'm familiar with all of the training. The problem is I'm still autistic and still in a state of crisis. And for me to try to train people into what to do with an autistic person who's in a state of crisis while I'm in a state of crisis, it just results in me being talked over like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And eventually I'm talking 400 miles an hour because I need to get my words out before they interrupt me again with some wives' tale or some ignorance about autism that's just ignorance. Those things were proven to be wrong in the 90s. Most of the traits people associate with autism were proven to be PTSD traits, traits that people exhibit when they're being abused, long-term abuse, and especially neglect. Much of that, we understand that children with autism who aren't able to speak, they're more likely to be abused like that because their parents don't understanding that holding their hands and stopping them from stimming makes it worse. We understand that you're afraid of us when we stim, but at the same time, stimming doesn't hurt anybody. It helps us to process, and it's a lot better than getting into drugs or alcohol. But meanwhile, because we're different, we're assumed to be on drugs or alcohol anyway, or at least treated that way by our predators. They call us mentally ill to try to peg us as violent and schizophrenic, and that's not the case. I was sent to Autism Speaks, but that's horrible because they have done more to hurt us since their inception than anyone else. All they do is spread false information, misinformation, and still all they want to do is cure all of us. I have high functioning Asperger's. I have a really high IQ, and I can absolutely see that Asperger's is a gift. It's a wonderful thing. But people's assumptions of Asperger's, their assumptions that having PTSD reactions that are a two-part system. When we talk about killing ourselves, it's because we tried to get help first, help stopping abuse, and people blew us off. And we're supposed to be calm all the time while people yell at us and scream at us and tell us they're going to kill our friends and families. I put up with 6 years of this, and they've been doing this. My stalkers have done this across the internet. They've been able to have court dates without me by insinuating that I'm schizophrenic, by calling me mentally ill. I've actually had police officers that I was trying to turn in who assaulted me, who took me to the hospital and told the hospital that I was schizophrenic. I've never been diagnosed as schizophrenic. Marcia Estrada is one of my mental health workers that I saw. And I've got the recordings with her and the paperwork from her that show that I'm not schizophrenic, that I do have PTSD. I am autistic. I'm not bipolar. She also explained how sometimes bipolar can mask itself or PTSD can be masked or misconstrued as bipolar disorder. And also the thing about autism is a lot of people like to pretend that when we exhibit signs of abuse, that those are autism traits, and they're absolutely not. I need my safety to be taken seriously this time, instead of having to ask drug addicts for help or be referred on to another service. I'm at risk in this parking lot because I'm honest. I'm at risk in this parking lot because I told on the people who were predatory towards me and took advantage of me here. I also had to post it on the internet. I called 988 because I was told that they were supposed to help. They were supposed to be a suicide and crisis hotline, so they're not just for suicide. But they don't care about the abuse that I'm enduring. They only care if I want to hurt myself or someone else. Why are we being sent to services when we're abused that are supposed to help us, when they will only help the people who will harm us. If we are thinking about harming ourselves over people hurting us, or we do happen to think about harming somebody who harmed us, if we think about harming them because they harmed us, that's harming them back. But even thinking about that is a natural reaction for most people. My natural reaction is to get away from them. If I have to act like them because I'm trapped in a situation taking abuse, I don't want to do that, but it's necessary. When I'm told that it's not wrong or it's not illegal, I guarantee you it's illegal if I do it. I had at least 5 people recorded on my YouTube channel just yesterday threatening to kill people. I've had multiple people threaten to kill me recorded. But I'm not allowed to say anything about how wrong that is, or they get to pretend I threatened to kill them because I said it's wrong. I need actual advocacy by someone who is familiar with autism and somebody who's going to do their job as a mandated reporter to turn it in right away and make sure that myself and my evidence are kept safe like they should have been from the very start, all the way back in 2016 in Virginia. This has been nationwide that I've taken this abuse. Everywhere I go, they tell me there's no services and I need to go somewhere else where there's services, and I go that somewhere else and there's no services. They tell me I got to go somewhere else where there's services. Meanwhile, I'm stuck with sensory overload because of constantly being stuck in public. I don't have a quiet place to defragment from this, and every person who's autistic needs this, even if we're high functioning. So I need an emergency place. An emergency place where I won't be victimized for having meltdowns, because these are mental breakdowns over being stuck in this and not being able to take care of myself or protect myself from predators. When Natalie was killed, they tried to paint me as a stalker, tried to pretend that because I'm autistic, I must be a stalker. And that's not the case. They were bullying me and assaulting me and threatening to kill me. And when I spoke up about it, they played victim. And they were heard and I wasn't, because I'm just an autistic retard in everyone's mind. Autism Speaks try to paint us all as demon monsters because we're autistic and our poor parents. But people don't stop to think about all the abuse that we endure at the hands of our parents because they just wanted normal kids. While people from the LGBT community tell us that we don't understand what it's like to be rejected by your family, we absolutely do. And they tell us we don't understand what it's like to be bullied or beaten up for being gay. I've been beaten up plenty for being gay, but I'm not gay. They just use that as an excuse. And all of my predators use wives' tales and excuses. And my so-called friends, they just talk over me and tell me how to think and how to feel and treat me like I'm retarded. If I'm punched in the face, and I say I was punched in the face, it's because I was punched in the face. We're more honest than neurotypicals. That's what doesn't make sense to us. Neurotypicals are taught to lie. They're taught to say one thing and do another. And if what they said doesn't fit, they'll say, oh, well, you know, what I actually did was. And if what they did doesn't fit what's moral, they say, oh, well, I told him this. Meanwhile, no matter what, there's no services wherever I go. I have to move to somewhere else where there's services. And Autism Society doesn't speak for me. I've been calling them repeatedly saying I need an advocate who understands they're victimizing me for being disabled and I can't turn off my disabilities. They can't punish me into doing things I'm incapable of. And as far as the having to defragment thing, that has never worked. The whole drugging somebody for that has never worked in the history of autism. It just makes us non-functional zombies and screws with our ability to have proper emotions. Meanwhile, when we have a meltdown, we're having the proper response to the type of abuse that we're enduring. But people want to use wives' tales and things that are only common among low-functioning autistic people as their excuse to harm us and to deny us our rights in court, our rights to face our accusers, our rights to turn in a police report. And then all these services we're sent to, they know how to downplay it and they know how to talk over us so they don't have to do their job. And they also have a position of power that allows them to be heard over the top of us, where their word is more important than the actual evidence. And I'm going to try to use your name so I remember it. Is it Lindsay?
Yes, that's my name.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to hear you.
Yes, my name is Lindsay.
All right, I just wanted to make sure. I forget names and numbers real quick, and I do write them down, but I live in a car and I can't take care of myself because of physical disabilities as well. And instead of people understanding that, they just pretend that none of my disabilities exist because I'm a male, and so I should just man up and get a job and everything will be fine and dandy.
Well, Sean, I wanna do what I can to help. But I'm not really sure what that is. I'm worried that I might, if I give you a referral, that it might be a place that you've already gone to that didn't treat you well. I mean, I have some information for, not for Tillamook, because you have that experiences there, but I have some information for Oregon more generally, some resources that are more statewide and not small town wide. But I'm worried that I might send you somewhere you've already been.
The problem is that I can't be sent around in circles. I need advocacy from someone who understands autism and from someone who's willing to understand me. Without that advocacy, I can't do the paperwork that I need to do. And the thing is that that's part of my disabilities, and I have to do that paperwork in order to get them to take my disabilities seriously.
Of course.
I
Now
do.
I understand. I think I have some things that might help. Give me one moment. I just want to look at my resources because I have some advocacy resources that I think will help. I just want to make sure I find the right thing. So thank you for your patience as I look through my
Yes,
my
ma'am.
resources.
I also want to let you know a lot of the standard resources we're supposed to go to, they don't listen without an advocate. They blow us off, and it's illegally so. That's a lot of the mandated reporter stuff I'm trying to turn in. I've been in contact with a lot of the agencies, like the Ombudsman's Office and the Oregon State Troopers, and they're not following the law either. I've called Adult Protective Services, but without an autism advocate, someone to explain to them that I'm overwhelmed, I'm not heard, I'm blown off and dismissed until I have a meltdown, and then they pretend like I'm a violent animal, and I'm not. People are violent with me often. Anyway, I have a piece of paper ready.
Okay, great. I just want to look up one more thing and make sure that I have everything correct. Give me one more second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to mind for advocacy is Disability Rights Oregon. Have you tried talking with them?
I have, but I didn't have an advocate with me, so I got talked over.
Okay. Would it be helpful if I gave you their phone number to call?
No, I have their phone number, and I've made over 100 calls in the last 6 months to them. That's not going to work. I need an advocate.
Okay. There is an organization. Let me just find the number. One moment. Okay, so I have an organization that is called the Legal Reform for the Intellectually and Developmentally Disabled, and they don't have a phone number, but I do have a email address.
I
For
can't
the
do that,
director.
ma'am. That's one of the things is that I need help with this electronic stuff. I'm lucky to be
Okay.
able to make the phone calls right now. Like
Okay, let
these
me just
services
find the.
are not autism friendly. None of them are autism friendly. They all victimize us for going to them for help if we go alone. We're all treated that way. Because
Okay,
I'm
one more
homeless, I
moment.
get treated like I'm a homeless junkie and that I'm out here because I chose it. I'm not. I was victimized into homelessness because I'm autistic. All right. What's the place called and what's their number?
Okay. I don't have a number. All I have is an email, and I know you said that was difficult for you.
If I had someone to help me with that in person, it wouldn't be difficult, but I don't have any assistance. That's the
I
thing, is that
understand.
I'm not able to take care of myself, and they're capitalizing on that. That includes taking advantage of me monetarily. I don't have the money to keep running around like this.
Okay. One moment. I have a third resource. I want to see if I can find the phone number. Okay. So, are you familiar with the ARC?
The place for alcoholics or the secondhand store?
The secondhand store. So they're actually a national organization that enfranchises folks with disabilities, and autism is at the center of what they do. The thrift stores are, an offshoot of that helps them to earn money in the communities. But they have a criminal justice and disability center, and I do have a phone number for you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 1-800 433.
And they don't just deal with low functioning autism, right?
I think they work with all individuals on the autism spectrum.
All right, because the ARC in Colorado wouldn't do that, and neither would one in Virginia. But 1-800-433.
5255.
I even went to Goodwill almost a dozen times between the different Goodwills on my travels because people kept telling me to go to Goodwill. I go to where I'm told to, even though they don't do anything. I go to them again because I'm told to go there. Hopefully this number will help.
Sure. Looking up something else to see.
The biggest issue is I have to make the calls by myself.
I understand. Okay. The last thing I can think of, just on the cusp, because again, I don't want to send you to any local resources because I know that they have not, they have not helped you.
They've not helped me to the point that I have to turn them in for committing felonies. That's how bad they did it. But go ahead.
And we do have a local affiliate. So I know that that's maybe not something you want to even pursue, but the Autism Society of America has an Oregon affiliate.
Yes,
And
ma'am, I called them.
Again, you already talked to them. Okay. So yes, I think so. That would be without sending you anywhere local. Without, I'm assuming you've worked with the Oregon Department of Human Services.
I've tried to. They do the same thing. I'm autistic with communication disabilities, so they just talk over me and dismiss my disabilities outright.
Sure. Okay. So that would be
same thing with the
that would be who
Northwest
I
Senior
would.
and Disabilities Services and the Adult Protective Services and Department of Health and Human Services. And ma'am, they take advantage of the sensory overload issues and make sure that I'm always overloaded.
I understand, and I believe you, and I'm sorry to hear that you're having just such an awful time. And I certainly.
Well, there's also over a dozen bodies involved now. There's a lot of dead people, so it's more than just harassment.
Contribute to anything that would cause you more harm. So I have the same kind of resources that you've been through.
Well, if you
But
have a number for the Oregon Autism Society, I'll call them again. I've got 3 numbers for them, but it might be a different number and get me through to somebody different.
okay, whenever you're ready, I can give you that number.
All right. Now, when I called them before, they said that they weren't able to go to small towns because they don't have the money or the resources and they're limited on advocates. But that was last year, and I've called them at least a couple times since then just to see if things have changed. Go ahead.
It's 503 636 1676.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would maybe give some of those contacts a try. And I understand that you're looking for advocacy, and I do want to help. But again, I don't want to send you somewhere you've already been, and I don't want to do anything that might cause you more harm.
Well, one of the reasons I call autism places is because these places aren't providing advocacy, because none of them know the first thing about autism. Most of them only know how to take advantage of us. That's why I called the Autism Society in Nebraska, and the Autism Society of Colorado in Colorado. The one in Colorado, they hooked me up with a lady named Lisette Brown, but she wasn't willing to do anything because of jurisdictional reasons. All I needed was help turning in abuse. Anyway, thank you, Miss Lindsay. Is there anything else that I should know?
At this time, I think that's the best information.
I'm sorry, there was a motorcycle going by. I'm not yelling at you.
No, you're fine. At this time, that's the best information that I have to share with you. And yes, I would maybe reach out to those organizations and see if they can provide you with assistance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Lindsay.
You're very welcome, Sean.
You have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being respectful.
Of course. Anytime. You take good care of yourself, okay, Sean?
I'm not capable, but I'll try.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Those of you who don't like being on the internet, I understand why. I was on the internet first. But the difference is, I was on the internet for things that other people did. Whereas you're on the internet for things that you did. You're angry with me because you admitted things to me that you didn't want on the internet. Well, you know what? I record for my safety, not for your embarrassment. And I do my best to let everybody know that I record at all points in time. I apologize to people if I'm not recording. They often say, well, I wish you wouldn't. I wish you wouldn't record. Well, I have to. People who are angry at me for recording them, some of them, I'm glad that I recorded. Because I recorded their predators, and they were able to get a court date based off the fact that I recorded it. Or if I can do the disabled thing here in America, scream for help until somebody kills me. That's right. That's how we're treated. The disability rights advocacy did exactly what this place did. Send me to somewhere else. What are the chances they'll send me to somewhere else? We'll call the ARC now.
We're sorry. The number you have dialed is not in service.
All right. Call log. We'll call again and try to get it.
Thank you for calling the Autism Society. Please listen carefully, as our options have recently changed. If you know the extension of the person you are calling, you may dial it at any time. For information about autism or service referrals, press 2. If you wish to make a donation, press 3. To hear a directory of Autism Society service areas, press 4. To reach a directory of staff. Sorry, but the user's mailbox can't accept more messages. Thank you for calling the Autism Society. Please listen carefully, as our options have recently changed. If you know the extension of the person you are calling, you may dial it at any time. For information about autism or service referrals, press 2. If you wish to make a donation, press 3. To hear a directory of Autism Society service areas, press 4. To reach a directory of staff, press 5. Para ayuda en español, oprime 6. I am sorry, but that's not a valid extension. Please try again. Thank you for calling the Autism Society. Please listen carefully, as our options.
Please wait.
Hello, you have reached the National Helpline at the Autism Society of America. The helpline provides information and referrals and is not a crisis line. If you or someone you know is in crisis, please call or text 988 and speak with a crisis specialist. Our offices are currently closed. Please leave your name, number, zip code, email, and a reason for your call at the beep.
Hola, se ha comunicado con la línea de ayuda nacional de la Autism Society of America.
Well, that didn't work out too good, did it? So I'm almost out of battery on everything. All I do is fucking charge up my batteries and fucking call places and get fucking nowhere. Call the Oregon Autism Society. All my stuff is almost dead.
Society of Oregon. Por español, marque el número 3. For English, dial 1. Thank you for calling the Autism Society of Oregon. This is Lori.
Hello, Lori. My name is Sean. I've called you guys before.
Hi, Sean.
The National Autism Society gave me your number. I'm in Tillamook, Oregon, and I'm being abused here because I'm homeless. I'm treated by the police as if I'm a drug addict. And the drug addicts out here who are homeless, we don't get along because they're drug addicts. I'm easy to take advantage of.
And you're in Tillamook, is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what kind of, we don't offer, we're not like developmental disability services or a housing authority or anything like that. I can tell you where you can go for resources. But
That's the thing, is that all of you guys send us to resources. We don't get those resources. Autistic people are not heard by any of these resources. I'm told to call places for advocacy.
So what kind of resources are you looking for?
Well, ma'am, I'm taking a lot of abuse because I'm autistic and because of stereotypes that were disproven. So I need someone to help speak up about the abuse that I've endured for the last 7 years straight, and how people are taking advantage of my disabilities to prevent me from taking care of myself. I get disability money, but it's all spent jumping through hoops, places that are supposed to help that don't.
Okay. So how can we help?
Well, one of the things is I gotta try to get the ARCS number. I was given that from the National Autism Society, but I called the number and it says it doesn't work.
Okay. And let's see if I can find that.
But also, I need somebody who is familiar with autism to help me to turn in the crimes committed against me instead of me being victimized by the police and these services here who want to remain blissfully ignorant. They keep breaking the law because I'm easy to blow over and brush off.
If your phone number is 503.
Whoa, hold up. I don't actually know my phone number.
Okay, that's fine. Able to receive text messages?
I am.
Okay, I sent you a link to the Arctic Oregon, and now I'm going to send you their phone number.
All right, I'll be calling them because I need help with the internet stuff. That's one of the things about being stuck out here on the streets. I don't have any assistance with that, so I can't do it that way. All of my money for being disabled was taken away when my friend got shot in the head, so like it all gets spent paying my predators ever since then.
So what county is Tillamook in?
Tillamook County?
It's Tillamook County, okay.
Yeah, I've been to all the services here. They've so far just committed non-stop felonies. As mandated reporters, they're help me turn in the crimes right away. Instead, what they did was set me up for stuff they could bill with Medicare and Medicaid. So they're committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud. I used up a good majority of my gas trying to keep my electronics charged, but everything is dying because I don't have the money to keep running around. $800 a month disability money doesn't allow us to live anywhere.
Okay, so I'm looking for the number for the ARC. For some reason, it's not being very cooperative in finding. Let me keep looking, and then I can text it to you as soon as I find it. And so the ARC is the one, and then is that all that you were needing is their phone number?
I actually can't hear a word you're saying because I'm stuck in public. I don't have a place to defragment. So there's a lot of traffic driving by, and I don't hear you very well over it.
Okay, I will text you.
Thank you, ma'am. If I give people a tiny taste of what I go through, they flip their fucking wigs. On the bright side, it does show the example. It's not illegal for me to drive through a parking lot without proof of insurance. I do have insurance. I just don't have fucking proof of it. I need help with that. And people don't understand. Yeah, there's a lot of this stuff I was able to do years ago. I used to be able to do a lot of these things. But that's because I was in different circumstances and different situations. What I'm in now is a situation where I'm wasting all of my time and all of my resources running to a bunch of places who run us around in circles. This is completely fucking bullshit. None of these places fucking advocate for us. Just because I like somebody doesn't make them a good person. And just because somebody's nice doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. I get angry when people are dishonest with me because it is disrespectful. And I have every right to get angry, you selfish pieces of shit. On the bright side, my phones might be charging. I'm gonna have to end this video and make sure that they get a charge on them though. They do that quicker if they're turned completely off. Maybe if I make 2 circuits around the parking lot. Just kidding, it takes a lot longer than that. While statistically women are more likely to be committing crimes in nearly every category of abuse, we still tend to pretend that only a woman can be a victim. how much time and money and energy I have to spend just to maintain the simplest shit? I think I still have enough on my card. I can go get some cheese and make myself some cheese sandwiches. I should probably do that. Matter of fact, that's what I'm gonna do. See, this is the thing, is that the autism specialists keep sending us to people who are not autism specialists. I'm aware they got affiliates here in Oregon. Called them first. But you notice all any of these places do is send me around in circles. None of them do a goddamn thing without a friend or family member who fucking gives a shit. Obviously, these things are illegal. The things that these people have done are obviously illegal. People go to jail and prison for this shit every fucking day, which means it is somebody's fucking job to do something.